Looking back at the beginnings of my gaming journey, some of my favorite games of all time hinged on some excellent couch co-op RPG gameplay, keeping me and my older brother up into the late evenings as we cleanse each village with the darkness it has found itself in. Games like Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, Dungeons & Dragons Heroes, Diablo 2, and pretty much any other dungeon crawler I could get my hands on. Back in 2018, PSVR got In Death, an excellent roguelike adventure title, opening my eyes to the beauty of what a dungeon crawler could be on the headset. It was dark, it was gritty, and it provided a sense of triumph and the dreadful underbelly of the afterlife. 2020 has just begun, and I've already found my next favorite dungeon crawler to hit the headset.
Good morrow, Grandmaster. It's not every day you see royalty venture into the dungeons of Skykeep.
Shadow Legend is an action-adventure RPG in its sword-swinging, spell-casting, and carrot-munching glory. Like many great D&D style crawlers, the game begins with a simple but lofty task to save the world. You're introduced to your combat and inventory system within the first few moments from a guardian angel. From there, you find yourself in a tavern, looting, collecting, forging, exploring, and discovering everything you possibly can. I spent nearly 20 minutes simply within the first tavern of the game without even batting an eye. There was so much to do, so many little things to interact with, and I wanted to do it all. You can imagine then how long I spent in the triple the size courtyard just outside those walls, exploring every inch that I could. Admittedly, if you just watch the trailer for Shadow Legend, it can seem a bit underwhelming. While there are certainly aspects of the game that I may describe that way, I'm extremely impressed with the level of polish, versatility, and overall adventure that Shadow Legend has to offer. During my playthrough of Shadow Legend, I couldn't help but question what some negative comments on Steam and some reviewers were talking about. Many of the negative comments in Steam talk about the game seeming intricate and well designed on the surface, but being rather shallow after you move past the first few moments of awe. This was not my experience at all, and while I cannot know with certainty what other players are speaking to, I believe much of this seems to be due to the willingness to simply play and enjoy the game for what it is. In my humble opinion, this game is first and foremost about exploration, and as any true dungeon crawler will tell you, it's all about the exploration. Going back to my early days playing couch co-op dungeon crawlers, I remember spending hours in a single dungeon searching down every possible path, making sure that no area of the map went untouched. It's crucial to the gameplay as you will come to find more interesting and powerful weapons, abilities, and enemies. Sure, you can brush through it, but at the end of the day, if you don't take the time to enjoy it, then you won't get out of it what it's given to you. Shadow Legend takes this formula to heart and does an excellent job of keeping the treasure hunt going. There are many hidden chests, ruins, gold, rubies, and more for you to find, and I spent much of my time in this game on the hunt. And of course, true to form, you can barter with merchants and buy new weaponry with the treasures that you've collected. Now, of course, this isn't all the game has to offer. Combat is very rewarding, offering a style similar to Golem, or for those of you that are unfamiliar, a similar take on the Dark Souls or Sekiro formula. Attack, block, attack, tack, and so on, keeping you alert to learn how each enemy type's combat style changes. The swordplay is great. Blocking an enemy's attack feels solid, and using ranged weapons like a crossbow or a spell-casting staff is a unique aspect to the gameplay. I guess the point I want to make here is take your time with Shadow Legend. The game will take the average player anywhere from 4 to 6 hours to beat, and I would strongly urge you to stretch that as much as you can. Search every area, look for loot, find new enemies, and recognize that Shadow Legend, like many great dungeon crawlers before it, is not simply trying to sell you a linear story for you to breeze through and finish. It wants you to look all around and truly take it all in. And if you don't look, you won't find it. Honestly, my complaints with Shadow Legend are a bit trivial. The first complaint I had during my playthrough was simply that there weren't enough enemies. Don't get me wrong, you will have at least a handful of enemies within each new area. However, there were many areas where I felt as though a handful more would have been nice. Shadow Legend does combat very well, and I wished it was more capitalized on more regularly. Another complaint is simply that there seemed to be only a few additional side quests during the game's campaign. I would have loved to see at least a dozen more, really stretching out this RPG adventure. One of the issues that I agree with from community feedback is that the end of the game did feel a bit flat in comparison to the rest. I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say that there seemed to be very little challenge within the final fight, leaving me a bit disappointed at the finish, which leads me to the game's length overall. While I would still argue that the game is easily worth a $25 price tag with at least 4 hours of gameplay, I certainly would have loved to play twice as much. But hey, here's to having some DLC in the future. Despite all my complaints, Shadow Legend is one heck of an adventure, and though it may not have lasted as long as I would have hoped, I'm eager to see what the dev team can cook up for us next.
Hey
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to stay tuned for more to come content, and leave me a comment with your thoughts, and I'll see you on the next one. Solo out.